Next, I would like to invite to the podium a personal heroine of mine, someone who works with Direct Action Everywhere, or DXE. Her name is Zoe Rosenberg, and she is a leading organizer with Direct Action Everywhere and the founder of Happy Hen Sanctuary. So we've just heard about United Poultry Concerns, and now we're going to hear about a hen sanctuary founder. She's been a lifelong advocate for animals, and she recently fought a very high-profile open rescue case in Sonoma County against Petaluma Poultry, bringing national attention to the plight of farmed birds. Through her work with DXE, Zoe has helped spearhead large-scale demonstrations, legislative campaigns, and direct rescue operations, putting the movement toward legal recognition and protection for non-human animals. Her courage and determination continue to inspire activists around the world. Welcome, Zoe.
12 years ago, I first got involved in the animal rights movement, and there's a conversation that I overheard at that time that has always really stuck with me. I was super inspired and hopeful at the time, and I was using that energy to rescue animals and to organize protests. And I remember overhearing two fellow activists, and they were having a conversation about whether or not we would ever achieve animal liberation, whether or not we would ever end the exploitation of animals. And by the end of the conversation, they essentially agreed that maybe we would someday, but it would probably be in 1,000 years if it even happened. And I remember that this really saddened me, because the animals who are alive now, the animals who will be born in a year or in 5 years, they don't have that kind of time. We need change immediately. Now, I've been an animal rights activist for 12 years. I have served time in jail and on house arrest. I'm a convicted felon for rescuing animals. I have been assaulted. I have experienced death threats and hate from thousands of people all over the world, and I fully understand how somebody could become jaded and disempowered and not believe in their ability to affect change. But I still 100% remain hopeful and inspired in my fight for animals, and I truly believe that we can and we will create a better world for all living beings, and that it won't be in 1,000 years, that we can do so in the short term. And the corporations and the institutions that uphold animal exploitation, they desperately want us to be hopeless. They don't want us to believe that we have the power to affect change. And it is so important that we believe that, because it is our silence that enables violence to continue to exist. And so we must speak up, and we must believe in our voices. One of the reasons why I remain so hopeful is because we see time and time again the resilience of the animal rights movement. We have been one of the most heavily repressed movements, and we're not a huge movement to begin with. We have had activists go to prison for years, and yet our movement still stands. We still fight. And these sacrifices, this work of so many activists has led to real progress. And I know that it's so easy as animals continue to suffer on such a large scale. It is so easy to not see the progress that we have made, but it is there. In 2006, the Shack 7 prosecution happened, and several animal rights activists went to prison for their campaign against animal testing. Today, we are on the verge of being able to end the testing on dogs and cats in the entire country of the United States. I really believe that that is about to happen. We are about to end dog and cat experimentation in the United States. And that is also because of the repression, because of the prosecution of activists who have tried to save these animals. Just a few weeks ago, over 1,000 animal rights activists attempted to enter Ridgeland Farms, an animal experimentation and breeding facility in rural Wisconsin that was housing around 2,000 dogs in cages to sell them to laboratories to be tested on. As they attempted to enter this facility to rescue these dogs, they were met by a very heavy police force. Activists were pepper sprayed and tear gassed, shot with rubber bullets. Several animal rights activists were sent to the emergency room. One activist was kicked until he was unconscious by a police officer. And now, multiple animal rescuers are facing felony charges and the possibility of years in prison for their acts to try to rescue these dogs. But just 10 days after these activists experienced all of this brutality, the public attention that demonstration received, that brutality received, gave negotiators the leverage to secure the release of 1,500 dogs from Ridgeland Farms, and in the last week, 135 more dogs from Ridgeland Farms. All of those dogs, every single night, they now get to go to sleep in a soft bed with a family who loves them, and they will never again have to exist in a cage, and they will never have to go to an animal experimentation facility to be subjected to torture and tests. One of those dogs is Chester, and he's living now with my family. I flew out to Wisconsin to be a part of this rescue effort, and when we were taking the dogs off of the vans right after they'd come out of Ridgeland Farms, and we were triaging them, making sure that they got the veterinary care that they needed, I was standing behind one of our volunteers as she was holding one of the dogs. That dog was Chester. And he reached out his paws. He was absolutely terrified, completely tense and shaken. But he reached out his paws and he put them on my chest. And then he wrapped his front legs around my arm and he just held on to me. And I knew then that I would be bringing him home with me. I flew him home to California. And I have gotten to watch him recover, or start to recover, from the trauma that he has experienced for the majority of his life as a dog who grew up at Ridgeland Farms. We know from the tattoos on his ear that he's about 2 years old, so he lived about 2 years in a small wire cage. He had never experienced anything soft. He had never been outside. He spent 2 years pooping and peeing where he stood because he had no other choice. And today he is learning to enjoy life. He is learning to thrive. His best friend is now our other dog, Gimli, and it's such a joy to watch them running around the yard, playing. It's so wonderful to see him sleep in a soft bed, to hold on to a blanket and feel warmth, to watch him learn to play with toys, to chase a tennis ball, to just do all of these little things that so often we take for granted that all of our dogs get to do. But tonight, while all of our dogs get to go to bed in soft beds, safe in our homes, there are still thousands of dogs who will not be so lucky. There are still 500 dogs suffering in cages at Ridgeland Farms, and there are over 16,000 dogs suffering in cages at Marshall Bioresources, the largest breeder of dogs for experimentation in the United States. But I believe that over the next several months, every last one of those dogs will be free, because we have seen momentum that we have never seen in this movement before. We are seeing the federal government begin to take action, begin to stand against animal experimentation, and we are seeing thousands of activists who are willing not just to speak up, but to risk their freedom and to risk their lives to get these animals out. Now, just 4 days after activists were brutalized at Ridgeland Farms, while animal rescues were in the midst of negotiations about to secure a deal to get these dogs out, the biomedical research company Merck acquired 54 dogs from Ridgeland Farms and transported them to some of their laboratories. As far as we know, those dogs remain in Merck's custody. So this Friday at 3 p.m., I am organizing a protest at Merck's West Coast headquarters, and we are going to demand that all of these dogs that they just acquired be released to rescues, and that Merck cease all business with Ridgeland Farms, and I hope you will join us at this protest. Thank you all for being here. Please keep speaking up for animals. Never lose faith in the power of your own voice to affect change. We will see a world where every animal is safe, happy, and free. And I believe it will happen within our lifetimes, not in 1,000 years. Never be silent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zoe Rosenberg, for all your work.